Hello and welcome to part 2 of the Gundam Battles. I'll do basic guide for the Hydra Gundam. If you haven't seen part 1, please do so. The link will be in the description so it'll be easier to find. In part 1, we went over the move list, some basic combos, and utilization of the Hydra shield. And in part 2, we're just going to go over some basic usage, maybe some more detail into the shield. Hydra Gundam is one of those characters that I felt should have been banned when I first started playing the game, but later, in my experience with this game, I've kind of backpedaled from that stance. I've kind of accepted that he's not like the strongest character in the game. When I started playing this game, when I started bringing it into the college that I go to, there was one guy that I played with who was really good, about as good as me at fighting games, maybe a little bit better, and he mained Hydra, and he knew how to block like very well, so getting in was a chore. And because of Hydra's shield being the way that it is, blocking unblockables, almost nulling usually chip damage for most attacks, it made it very easy to counter me. And the thing about Hydra is, when you counter, you basically do a bar because you can combo into your super. So really you can just turtle pretty effectively and then just rush in, do a very small combo it into your mega special, do a bar, lather, rinse, repeat. It's a very safe way of playing a Hydra. Very effective, very annoying. And you could also rush, because he has some of the best normals in the game, if not the best normals in the game. Well, not the best overall, but he has the best crouching light kick. Very long range, Gatlings like nobody's business. Possibly the best trip in the game. It's not the longest range, but it's very fast, very strong, does multi-hit. Can be comboed into. I would argue he has the best standing light kick in the game because it's very fast and it has huge range, that light kick, and can hit confirm into his super for a ton of friggin' damage. He has a very good jab, not the best in the world because of his size, but still pretty good. He has a crouching heavy punch uppercut that is similar to Tallgeeze's. It's a little bit faster, but I don't think it does as much damage, and it's not as useful. His ammo weapon is beams. It's a little slower on startup, but it has very good tracking. I would use it the same way you use it as RX-78's. Use it the light version for pressure and zoning. His double beam barrel cannon special is relatively useless. It's way too slow. Even at long range it can still be relatively punished. So do not use. His unblockable is a little slow on startup, but it does a lot of damage. Though the second part can be dodged and probably punished, so maybe you don't really need to use the unblockable all that much, since Hydra doesn't really have much trouble getting in, and even then he doesn't really need to worry about that because he's got the freaking shield. The shield blocks unblockables with 0 chip damage, and can exit block faster than most other characters when blocking those kind of attacks, be it beam specials, beam weapons, unblockables, etc. And because of that, he has more opportunities to counter for a bar of damage than most other characters in the game. Because of that, he's one of the best characters. He's really only a touch below the 3 best characters, being Death Scythe, Rose, and Epion. Only because he has a very limited repertoire of moves. Oh, he also has a very good foot dive, which is also helpful for rushing and pressuring, like he needed it. He's just an overall very good character, but his repertoire of moves is very limited. He doesn't have a lot of specials, so there's not a lot of variety to what Hydra can do, and a good player can kind of predict what the Hydra can do. And he's still susceptible to overheads and lows and stuff, so just a proper mix-up can get in and do some damage. He has slightly more health than the average of the cast, so he can kind of get away from attacks that would normally do a bar. Let's see, what else? That's relatively it. You can either rush a little bit, add some pressure, goad your opponent into attacking you, and then you can block their attack. Any unblockable you can pretty much answer with a special, so generally speaking they're not going to use unblockables on you, or at least a good player won't. Unless maybe they combo into it, if it's like Epion's Mega Special. I don't know. Don't use his Mega Special by itself, because it's very powerful, it's very good, but it's vulnerable. It does have an invincible startup, but it's not that long, so be very careful. I would say the safest thing to do would be to combo into it, and it's very easy to do so because his normals are so friggin' long and fast. And that's about all I have to say about the Hydra. And that is, well, with the exception of Dark Gundam, but that doesn't really count. That is all the Gundams in the game. So now all that's left is all these Xeon mobile suits. So we're going to dive into those.